Hello there guys, welcome to one of my videos. On this video there's a few things to negotiate about. So I am going to be giving you some latest news regarding Jadon Sancho. Then I'm going to be giving you a bit more additional information on Paul Pogba. Then I'm going to be talking with you a bit more about David De Gea. But we will start with the news on Jadon Sancho. So, according to recent reports, Manchester United will put a £80 million bid in for Jadon Sancho next week. Now, reportedly, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has notified Ed Woodward that he wants Jadon Sancho at Manchester United by August. He did recently say, not too long ago, that Borussia Dortmund have set their deadline and they've said to us that we must sign Jadon Sancho by the 10th of August or the deal is off. I think recently as well, Ed Woodward has had negotiations with Marcus Rashford, and I think that's one of the beneficial reasons why I want Sancho at Manchester United is because he's got a very good friendship with Marcus Rashford, and plus he's well proven in the Premier League. I think Fabrizio Romano's been recently talking about Jadon Sancho, saying that his move to Manchester United is very close. Now, like he updated you recently, it was stemming from Neil Custis from The Sun, and he said that Manchester United are close to agreeing a £100 million deal with Borussia Dortmund for Jadon Sancho. There were stories coming out quite a few weeks ago, like he updated you, and it said that Jadon Sancho has already agreed personal terms with Manchester United, and it said he has agreed a 5-year contract at the football club worth around £140,000 a week. Obviously, back in February, if you do remember, it said that Sancho had agreed almost every little detail of a move to Manchester United, but it said the only thing that hadn't been agreed was the fee. And Borussia Dortmund's asking price has been the stumbling block because we've said several times we are not willing to smash our transfer record for Sancho. But Borussia Dortmund do remain ruthless over their valuation. They have said several times that they do want at least £100 million. But Borussia Dortmund have said they will not let Sancho go for a cut price deal, despite, the financial impact of the coronavirus pandemic. It recently said, though, we're only willing to make a move for Jadon Sancho if we get qualification for the Champions League. But it said if we don't get qualification for the Champions League, then we won't make a move for Jadon Sancho. Now, as you all know, Sancho is our number one priority target, and I think he's been our number one priority target for a while. We first expressed our interest in Sancho in 2017. I think Borussia Dortmund have come to accept the fact that Sancho does want to leave, so now they are looking for replacements for him. And he did say, we could sell 6 of our players to fund the move for the player. But you had the Borussia Dortmund CEO last month. He said he expects Jadon Sancho to stay at Dortmund for next season because he's convinced that no club's willing to meet their valuation. But on the other hand, you had Lucien Favre last month, the Borussia Dortmund boss, and he made an admission saying that Sancho could still leave in the summer transfer window. But we have been working on Jadon Sancho's contract for quite some time, and we've also been in negotiations with his agent. I think Jadon Sancho did reveal if he leaves Borussia Dortmund, his preferred option would be a move to Manchester United. Now, this has been Jadon Sancho's 3rd season at Borussia Dortmund. And like I said, since his arrival in Germany, he has been a revelation. He really has. I think he's got a good 20 goals this season. Dortmund only paid £8 million in from Man City, so they got him for next to nothing. But analysing his performances in the few years he's been with Dortmund, his valuation has persistently grown. Sancho has got a contract with Dortmund until 2022. He's only the age of 20. He's predominantly a right winger. And, we've already made a promise to Sancho, and we made this promise a while back. We did say that we are willing to offer Jadon Sancho the number 7. because we have got number 7 vacant at the moment. And, we have had a lot of good number 7s up and down the generations. Borussia Dortmund are known as a selling football club because, they have let quite a few of their players go to the Premier League in recent years. And, there's also players that have left them, who didn't go to the Premier League. But I'm still very convinced that we can get Jadon Sancho on the board. So is £80 million going to be enough to convince Borussia Dortmund to offload him? It did say the other week that we'd set our limit and we was only willing to pay 50 million for Sancho, but we know that figure's going to be nowhere near enough to convince Borussia Dortmund to offload him. It also said that Manchester City have been in for him, because not too long ago Manchester City got their ban overturned by say yes, their 2-year Champions League ban. And it says City were back in for him. And like I said, Sancho is a former Man City player, but he had to leave Man City because he didn't get assured any first team opportunities. Chelsea have been in for him before. Sancho was a boyhood Chelsea fan. Also, too, Liverpool have been in for him before. But there you go. But we have been looking at alternatives to Sancho, because I will make the admission, there's cheaper solutions than Jadon Sancho. We've been looking at Ferran Torres from Valencia. In recent weeks, we've been looking at Ousmane Dembele from Barcelona. We was also looking at Rabbi Matondo before from Schalke. But yeah. But I think definitely Solskjaer wants Sancho at Manchester United. By the way, I think Man United are set to announce 3 signings, and they are academy players. So that's obviously very, very good news. So anyway, that's the latest news regarding Jadon Sancho. Now let's delve into the news on Paul Pogba. So Fabrizio Romano has given us an update on Paul Pogba's contract situation, and he says that Manchester United are trying to extend Paul Pogba's contract, because it did say the other week that we'd entered negotiations with Pogba's agent Mini Raiola over extending Pogba's contract at the football club. As it stands at the moment, Pogba's just got under a year left on his Manchester United contract, but the club do have an option to extend it for a further year. There were stories coming out last week saying that Paul Pogba was close to signing a 5-year contract at Manchester United. And it says, this contract extension should be announced at the end of the season. But if he does sign a 5-year deal, that will take him at Manchester United until 2025 if he does sign this 5-year deal. And I presume that Paul Pogba, obviously will demand a pay rise if he signs this 5-year contract. But if Paul Pogba does sign a new long-term contract, it will end the uncertainty over his future. Now, at one point, it was looking very, very imminent that Paul Pogba was going to be leaving the football club. Obviously, last summer, he was relentlessly linked to a move to Real Madrid. Because Paul Pogba did say last summer he was seeking for a new challenge and publicly admitted that he wanted to leave the club, and he was talking a lot about Real Madrid last summer. There was also stories about Paul Pogba going back to Juventus, because Paul Pogba did endure 4 good years with Juventus. There was talks about him going to PSG and Barcelona before. But like I said, since the resumption of the season, more or less, I don't think Paul Pogba's done too bad. I think he's made an impact. I think in the last few games, though, Paul Pogba's looked a bit off the pace. But earlier on in the season, I didn't really have a perception on him, Paul Pogba, because don't forget he was out with that ankle injury. And Pogba has sustained quite a few injuries as a Manchester United player. But I think his combination with Bruno Fernandes in our midfield's been absolutely fantastic. Pogba is one of the highest paid players at the club as it stands at the moment, because he's on just under 300 grand a week. And he's the most expensive signing because we did pay £89 million for him. I think the mistake we made regarding Paul Pogba was getting rid of him when he was younger, because don't forget we had him under the Ferguson era. But we had to let him go due to limited appearances. We let him go on a free transfer to Juventus. So far, Pogba's won 2 trophies at the football club, and there was the Europa League and the League Cup in his first season. Like I said, Paul Pogba enjoyed a very, very difficult time under the Jose Mourinho era, but all of our top players enjoyed difficult times under the Mourinho era, and I think Paul Pogba got one of his best wishes when Jose Mourinho got sacked from the football club. Paul Pogba's got one goal this season because he did score in the Villa game. That was his first goal, by the way, since April 2019. So I think Paul Pogba, is now staying at Manchester United. We believe that Mini Raiola, Pogba's agent, was the only one that wanted his client to leave the football club. Because I said we've been very, very critical of Mini Raiola since the turn of the year. Reflects on some of the comments he said regarding Manchester United and some of the comments he said regarding Pogba. But so more or less now Paul Pogba's future has been resolved. So we are close now, I think, to extending his contract. Maybe we'll extend it before the end of the season, but we shall see. Now, let's give you the news regarding David De Gea. I do believe now that David De Gea is finished at Manchester United. Because like I said, in the last couple of years, David De Gea has been a liability, reflecting on the calamitous mistakes he has made. Don't forget, David De Gea made 2 calamitous mistakes yesterday in our 3-1 defeat to Chelsea in the FA Cup semi-final. Because, De Gea should have saved Giroud's shot, and he also should have saved Mason Mount's shot. And some people say he was also accountable for the 3rd goal. So probably now it's time for De Gea to leave Manchester United. Of course, Solskjaer's warned De Gea that he's got to raise his game. Alan Shearer, said that David De Gea needs to be dropped and Manchester United do need to replace him. This has been now David De Gea's 9th season at Manchester United. He's approaching his 10th year at the football club. And he did recently say David De Gea is intending on staying at the football club for several years. But like I've said before, I think David De Gea's had 7 good years out of the 9 years he's been here. David De Gea has now made 402 appearances for the football club in all competitions. As you all know, he's already overtaken Peter Schmeichel on appearances. And obviously, when he got to 400 appearances, David De Gea only became the 2nd goalkeeper to reach that after Alex Stefani. After Alex Stefani. But Solskjaer's got a big decision to make regarding David De Gea. I think he will play against West Ham and I think he will play against Leicester because he's still our number 1 goalkeeper. But I said, didn't I, when David De Gea leaves Manchester United, I think he will go back to Spain. The main explanations is because he began his footballing career in Spain. Don't forget he was at Atletico Madrid. Also to his family's from Spain and his girlfriend's from Spain. And plus back in 2015 he was close to joining Real Madrid. But due to a fax machine the deal never materialised. David De Gea is on, 375,000 a week at the club. So he's the highest paid goalkeeper in the world and the highest paid at the club because last September David De Gea signed a 4-year deal with Manchester United. And, Solskjaer was talking about David De Gea recently saying that, he's been the best goalkeeper in the world for the last, 9 or 10 years or so. We paid, just over £18 million in from Atletico Madrid. So if we are to sell him, we'll still get quite a bit more than the £18 million that we did pay for him. I still think, we could get around maybe 50 or 60 million for David De Gea. But it's time for him to be dropped now, and people will say we need to put Romero in goal for our 2 remaining games in the league. People will say for next season that Dean Henderson should be our number 1. Obviously, Dean Henderson is out on loan with Sheffield United at the moment. But he has gained that experience now, has Dean Henderson. So, I think now David De Gea is finished at Manchester United. And don't forget, he is now in his late 20s. But don't forget, David De Gea has won everything here domestically. And he's won individual awards, reflects on his good performances over the years. So, that's the latest news on all of that. But like I said, we're looking to make around 3 signings in the summer transfer window. And Solskjaer's already identified the areas in the squad where he does want to strengthen up. He's told Ed Woodward the areas where he wants to strengthen up. I think we're looking to recommend a striker in. We're also looking to recommend a right winger in, and we're also looking to recommend a centre defensive midfielder in. There's still some reports saying that we want to recommend a centre half in. Obviously, despite the fact that we've got 7 centre halves in the team. Like I said, there is a lot of uncertainty regarding the summer transfer window because of the financial impact of the coronavirus pandemic. I think our pre-season plans, our transfer strategy, and our plans for next season are all up in the air at the moment, like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer recently revealed. And I don't think he knows what our transfer budget's going to be. One thing we do know is that the summer transfer window is opening on the 27th of July. So that's obviously, very, very good. Because I did say next season our expectations will be to finish in that, will be to challenge for the league, because this has been the 7th season now we have failed to mount any kind of title challenge up, and we haven't won the Premier League since 2013. And Solskjaer did recently say we've got to spend money to compete with the likes of Manchester City and Liverpool and that. But the summer transfer window will be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's 4th transfer window as Manchester United manager. We don't only need to focus on the incomings in the summer transfer window. We've also got to focus on the outgoings. I think we're going to probably get rid of at least 6 players in the summer transfer window. Recent reports did say that we have put 6 players up for sale, and that's Jesse Lingard, Alexis Sanchez, Smalling, Jones, Rojo, and Diego Dalot. But if we can get rid of these players, we will generate money, and it will help us with our rebuilding process. It really, really will. But one thing Solskjaer's confirmed, that he will not tolerate any rotten apples in the squad. To be fair to Solskjaer, he has got rid of a lot of players since he got recommended into the football club. We saw, Ashley Young leave this year after he endured 8.5 years at Man United. He went to Inter Milan. We saw Rojo go out on loan to Estudiantes. Smalling went out on loan to Roma last summer. We saw Darmian leave the football club last summer. Herrera left. Fellaini left in January 2019. He was the first player to leave Man United under Solskjaer. We saw Lukaku leave. He went to Inter Milan last summer. We saw Alexis Sanchez go out on loan to Inter Milan. Dean Ensign's out on loan. I think still Joe Pereira's out on loan. Angel Gomez as well. He recently left the football club. Valencia left last summer after he endured 10 years at Manchester United. So he's got rid of a lot of the deadwood, but there is still deadwood in the squad at the moment. So there you go. Solskjaer is still very, very convinced that Manchester United can finish in the top 4, despite that 3-1 defeat to Chelsea in the FA Cup semi-final. Obviously, we have got a chance of getting into the top 4 for the first time since September. If we do beat West Ham, this will happen. But I think, we need to win our 2 remaining games, to be on the safe side. We don't have to, we can, I think, drop points in one and win the other one, and we'd still finish in the top 4, because Leicester recently lost to Tottenham by 3-0. But I'm very, very convinced that we can win our 2 remaining games, because we are unbeaten in our last 12 Premier League games. So we have been in a good vein of form. Like I said, the only chance for us getting some silverware on the board now is the Europa League. Because we are more or less into our last 8 of the Europa League, because we are 5-0 up against Lask from the first leg. And the Europa League quarter-final draw was done the other week, so we know who we will be facing in the quarter-finals. I think we actually are emerged as one of the favourites to win the Europa League. But if we win the Europa League, that would be our first trophy under Solskjaer, and plus we'd get automatic qualification for the Champions League. So if we won the Europa League, wouldn't even really need top 4 anyway. But definitely top 4 is a priority for us, because we do know the importance of Champions League qualification. For the game against West Ham on Wednesday, Solskjaer will make rotation in the squad. The preview for the Man United West Ham game will be coming up probably sometime tonight. Should be tonight. I'll be doing the preview for the game. But he'll make rotation in the squad, will Solskjaer. Obviously, in the Chelsea game yesterday, he made 5 changes from the 2-0 win against Crystal Palace. And Solskjaer, was very tactically naive, and I thought he got it wrong. His team selection was totally wrong. He, should have started Romero. Yesterday didn't. Should have started Pogba and McTominay, didn't. There was on the bench Pogba and McTominay, but Pogba did come on. Martial should have started the game yesterday against Chelsea, didn't, but came on. People say Mason Greenwood should have started the game yesterday against Chelsea, so he did totally get it wrong, did Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. And that's the first time in a while he's got it wrong, because when we was on that 19-game unbeaten run, Solskjaer, was making a lot of good decisions. Earlier on in the season, it was totally contrast, because earlier on in the season, a lot of his decision making was poor. Didn't really have a plan A or didn't really have a plan B. But it's only one game. We got beat fair and square. Chelsea totally dominated the game. It was our first meeting with Chelsea in the FA Cup semi-final for 24 years, but it was the 4th time we'd met them in the FA Cup. Fourth time we'd met them in... It was the 4th season in a row, we'd met Chelsea in the FA Cup. And it was our 30th FA Cup semi-final. I was very, very disappointed that, we didn't win it, because I wanted us to actually, win the FA Cup, because we have won the FA Cup 12 times. And, we haven't won the FA Cup since 2016, and that was back under the Louis van Gaal era. But like I said, the best team just won. And, there was basically, no arguments. Solskjaer, admitted that, his team selection, didn't work. So he'll look to, go with the right team selection against West Ham, because Solskjaer knows that the league is definitely a priority for us. It is definitely not a priority for us. I've got some good news as well regarding Eric Bailly. As you all know, he went off injured yesterday. Obviously, collided heads with Zuma. Then moments later, collided heads with Harry Maguire. And it looks very, very serious at the first. Bailly had been taken to hospital. Now it turns out it's not severe. And I think he's now being released from hospital as Eric Bailly. So, should be back now. I thought he was actually going to be out for a long time when I saw it. My only element of concern about Eric Bailly anyway is that, he's very, very injury prone. Very, very injury prone is Eric Bailly. But prior to that, very, very good centre half. But like I said, for next season, Solskjaer, is going to have bigger expectations to exceed. Bigger expectations to exceed. And he's aware of this. He really, really is. And I said, even if we don't get qualification for the Champions League, and if we don't even win the Europa League, I still think he'll be Manchester United manager next season, because I said he does need at least another season, and he deserves at least a couple of more transfer windows, because it is a transition period, and it has been a transition period for a while. Put into the equation, Solskjaer's inheriting, players either from the Jose Mourinho era, there's players either from the Van Gaal era, a few of them, and there's still Matty from the Moyes era, and there's still a few players either from the Alex Ferguson era. But the vast majority of this team is actually Jose Mourinho's. But there's only 5 players that are Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's who he's recommended into the football club so far, because Solskjaer spent just over £200 million at the club. Obviously, last summer brought Daniel James, Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire in. And in January brought Bruno Fernandes and Odi Nagalo in. So, to be fair, our recruitment's, really, really improved under Solskjaer and that. Like I said earlier on in the season, we'd enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. And at that point, it was looking very, very likely that Solskjaer was going to get the sack. I've already given you the main explanations why Solskjaer did not get sacked as Manchester United manager, because we had that fantastic 19-game unbeaten run that played a part in it. With Solskjaer being a club legend, that also plays a part in it, because he was a great player for the football club for 11 years. He flourished under Ferguson's guidance. And I think the signing of Bruno Fernandes that saved his job, because Bruno Fernandes has definitely made the difference in the team. Hasn't been so good in the last few games, but prior to that, he's made a fantastic impact. Bruno Fernandes has now got 9 goals for Manchester United, I think, since his arrival from Sporting Lisbon in January. He's won back-to-back Player of the Months, and that's he became the first Manchester United player to do that since Cristiano Ronaldo. You know, Solskjaer's now been with us 18 months, so he has been, I think, is it 18 or just over 18 months? So he has been with us now for quite a while, and I think he's been permanent Manchester United manager for around 15 months as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But I still believe that, you know, we can win a title under him. And if we can do that, it will be our 21st title, because at the moment we've won 20 titles and 13 of them are Premier League. So as it stands, you know, we are still the most successful team in England. Like I said, in the last 7 years, we have been playing catch-up. You know, we've had different managers with different philosophies. 3 managers have gone since Ferguson, and that was David Moyes, Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho. And obviously in the managerial areas, a lot of money's been spent at the club. You know, we spent close to the £1 billion range on players. And Solskjaer's our 4th permanent manager. So like I've said, you know, we haven't really got the structure to keep sacking managers. Another one of the good things as well, you know, reflecting how long Solskjaer's been with us, he has gained more managerial experience. He's got that experience now behind him. You know, he's learned quite a few things since he's come in. You know, Manchester United is the 3rd club in his managerial career. Solskjaer, you know, has more or less given everybody their chances. You know, he's given, obviously, the senior players their chances. You know, he's promoted the youth very, very well this season, so that's also a positive to take. But there's still things that Manchester United need to improve on. I think, you know, we need to be quicker on the ball. We need to keep the ball better. Our football needs to look more expansive. We've probably, you know, got to be more clinical in front of goal. Because Solskjaer was recently criticising our forwards, saying, you know, they're not being clinical enough in front of goal. I think we need to be more like quicker on the flanks. But you can tell, you know, that, you know, there's areas where Manchester United are definitely lacking. Definitely, you know, lacking. And I think we look good in that attacking line, you know, because Martial's enjoyed a very, very good season. So too was Rashford. Like I said, he was a big miss earlier on this season, Rashford, because he had that back injury. Greenwood, I've been very impressed with him. Last few games, Greenwood's been off the pace, but obviously, you know, Greenwood, don't forget, has had that ankle injury. I've been quite impressed with the midfield, you know, with Pogba and Fernandes and that. Defensively, I've got element of concerns. We did, in some of the games, in the Nightingale beating when we look good defensively, but, you know, as you've been watching us as well, you know, we're still making a lot of mistakes at the back. Some people say we need to either sell Lindelof and Bay and put another centre-half there alongside Harry Maguire. You know, we've got James, who's one of our attackers. You know, there's been stories saying that he could be loaned out for next season because James hasn't been so good since the turn of the year, let's be honest. But there you go. But these players at Manchester United that are not getting chances, and this is another reason why these players who aren't getting chances need to go. Delors not getting chances. Lingard's not getting chances. You know, Soto and Pereira's not even getting chances either. Tahith Chon's not getting chances. You know, James Garner, he's another player that's not getting chances in that. But there you go. So on my next video, I will be giving you my preview for the West Ham game. I do presume Solskjaer will be doing his press conference tomorrow, so I will be giving you my reaction for that. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.